Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode here on ESGNet. And this is, we're back. This is Sports Gamer Talk Podcast, Soapbox Podcast, I should say. And this is episode number 27. Yeah, it's been a while since we had an episode. I've been very busy, as you know, as always. I'm a very busy man, and so on and so forth, especially this summer. With trying to look for a new job, and I got some news about that. Also, I got family that came in town for the summer, and so I just want to spend time with my nephews and stuff like that. So we're back. Hopefully, we'll be back on a more regular basis here. It won't be another month or two before you guys hear from me again on this podcast. But got a lot of things to talk about here today. We got a few things to talk about. We're not going to get too much into this. This should be a short episode here, no more than hopefully 45 minutes or so. Not like our hour or so long episodes, which I guess 15 minutes difference, big deal. But anyway, we'll get into some of these things today. One thing over the last time we had an episode, James Harden went to the bank. Yes, he got paid, and he got paid very, very well. We'll talk about his four-year extension that he got with the Rockets. Also, we got news on Mark Cuban. He's decided to put the hammer down on some of his rookies. Yeah, the Mavericks owner talking about what he wants to do with his rookies when it comes to social media. Also, too, in the NBA, basketball season is about to roll over again here soon. And NBA Live, a big series I used to play when I was a kid, is coming back more. It's actually growing. There's a lot of things going on here with that series, as they're bringing an overhaul in the series, and they're also bringing something with them, and we'll tell you about that. Possibly some females in the game. Yeah, talking about the WNBA. Also, in the news, football season is also coming back. We just had our first game, Hall of Fame game between the Cardinals and Cowboys. We'll talk about that. How I am so excited about it, because that means now fantasy football is coming back, and we'll talk about football and whatnot, and also some things about football. As there's a big news, the biggest news of them all, really, in the NFL, is about the future of Colin Kaepernick. Now, this has been an issue I've been talking about for, I think it was this time last year when he was sitting down during national anthems, and I'm going to give you my hard, honest opinion about this, and about people going against him about this. Trust me, you guys are going to want to hear it. All that and more here today on the ESGNet's Sports Gamer Soapbox Talk Podcast. Man, I got to really shorten that down some here today. All right, so here we go. One of the stories I want to talk about is James Harden. He is going to the bank, and he got the smile on his face. Now, I don't know exactly the numbers here because I lost the damn paper as we speak. But he got a big payday. I think it was over a little over. I want to say it's over $100 and some $1 million in a contract. He gets basically it's a 4-year extension. He got paid big money. I wish I had my notes here. I don't have them here, at least for that story here. Damn, where did I put it at now? I'm thinking about it now. But yeah, he is going to the bank here. And honestly, I have to agree. I mean, he played. I mean, look what he did with this Rockets team. I mean, before that, you had I can't think of his name now. Played for the Magic, and then I can't think of his name. Anyway, he's now with Atlanta now. Dwight Gooden, he tried to do something here, but then he left. So this is this is something really special for the Houston Rockets. I mean, they got this guy that can really, a real good floor general when it comes to the team. He's very vocal, and of course the beard's epic. So why not give him a 4-year extension and pay him that kind of money here? Now, with you know what I say about contracts. You know, there's always a little bit of a backlash to it. Is when you have that kind of money, you got to be able to produce. You got to continue doing what you've been doing for you to, you know, because you got that money that you obviously did something that, you know, got the owners and the organization fired about, you know, supporting you and giving you that contract there. So you got to continue doing what you're doing and maybe even step your game up even more. You know, get more. He needs to work on maybe working on his inside the game there a little bit more. Working on you know, being more brutal, attacking the rim, and that kind of stuff. So. A big ups to James Harden there. I'm a big fan of his. I've been a fan of his since the days of the Thunder. I was kind of really upset because I really thought I was one of those ones that was not really a big fan of, and I'm still not. I mean, I'm a Thunder fan, but I'm not a big fan of Russell Wilson. Even though Russell Wilson, Russell Westbrook. Should say Westbrook, not one of my favorite players, but don't get me wrong, the guy has game, but just the way how he, you know, I think the Thunder would be better off with James Harden than with Russell Westbrook because but then at the same time I'm thinking like, well, I mean, in the end, who do you pick? Who do you really, you know, who do you pick? And I mean, for them, I guess the Thunder say, yeah, you know, Westbrook's better. But I mean, Harden. I mean, he is just, and he's a team player. I think that's overall. I think I like about him, and he's a team player. He wants to include everybody in there. And then when, you know, the shit hits the fan, he's like, okay, you know, I'll take it. You know, if we lose, I'll take the blame. I'll explain why this happened, and so on and so forth. So, big ups to Big Russ there and that epic beard of his. I'm actually hoping. I got a trip planned coming up, like I usually do during my birthday, to go to Houston because I have plans going on to go into Survivor Series there in Houston in November, and I've got plans to go to the Toyota Center and to see that. But also I've been looking at some tickets for games, so I can't wait to go see him play there again. You know, there in Houston that week that I'm in there for my birthday. So. That, and of course, I hang out spend time with my little baby sister and her son. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see him play because I've had a chance to go to Oklahoma City to go see him play when he was playing against the Thunder, but for whatever reason, I think I was still in school and I just couldn't get down there to go visit my sister at the time when she was living in Oklahoma. Now she lives in Houston. But yeah, I don't know if I think it was just a scheduling conflict or whatever, so I couldn't go down there and go see him play. But I definitely got plans to go see him play now this year when I go to Houston. All right, now speaking of another Texas team, the Dallas Mavericks, the owner Mark Cuban, of course, he's known for his very, very brash, very honest opinion about referees and players and team and all that kind of stuff. And of course, the big star of the Shark Tank series there on ABC. But yeah, just a couple of weeks ago, he during summer, they're in the summer league, the D League, whatever you want to call them. He was really upset over some things he heard. Now, according to Uproar.com and of course ESPN.com, Mark Cuban was been very, very vocal with his ball club. About his ball team, especially with the rookies, about sharing stuff or talking or being on social media. He says that during practices like that, he wants phones out of the facility. He doesn't want phones in the gym or in the training room or anything like that. He wants them focused on getting better during the off season and getting themselves prepared during the season, which I totally agree. This is something I think a lot of teams, not just in the NBA. But teams are, really all professional teams need to do. I mean, you guys they can look at social media after the fact, after, the games, stuff like that. Maybe you can do it before the games. But for me, if you're tweeting during the game and all that kind of stuff, it's like, there's no point of doing that. I mean, you got to be focused on what you're doing at the time of play. You need to be focusing on playing the game and trying to try to win the game, which is the ultimate thing of all this. Trying to win the game, build up wins so you can get yourselves in a good position during the playoffs. So yeah, that's what he's working on right now. I guess this is already this rule or whatever it is was already implemented a couple years back with a couple players there on the team, and pretty much for the most part, everybody on the team that's been on the team for a while now has accepted it. They said, hey, we totally agree with you, and we'll support this. So that's good that the team is going to support that. And of course the rookies, you got a couple rookies there kind of upset about that, because they grew up with social media and stuff like that. But this day and age, you got to kind of be careful of what you share on social media and what you talk about on social media with people, especially as an athlete. You don't want to give too much away, and to me, I mean, there's a lot of players out there on all sports that want to be an open book and want to be, involved with their fans, and all that, which I think is great, because social media is a great tool, a great way to communicate with people, and just to interact with people. But at the same time, if you're on social media during your game or during practice like that, that takes away from what you're supposed to be really focusing on, which is, looking at the playbook or, looking at schemes and stuff like that, and get yourself prepared for that next game. So I think that's a great job for Mark Cuban. I think hopefully more teams will pick up on that and kind of follow that same kind of rule. So I think that's really cool. All right, now staying into the NBA, we're going to get ready. Of course, NBA 2K18 has been talked about and been mentioned, and everybody's been talking about it, what the new features are going to be, talking about the new My Team and what you can do in that. New features in the My Team and new features in, the franchise mode, which they've been a little bit tight-lipped about some things. And, of course, My Career, where everybody's wondering how that's going to be this year. So far, I've been enjoying NBA 17, My Career, so much so that I want to go back and play last year's game, which was 16, which you had, I think it was Freak. I've been thinking about bringing that back here onto the channel and kind of, kind of continue where I left off with that, along with, of course, this one from 17. But again, they haven't said too much about 18. I'm sure it's going to be great just as well. But NBA Live 18 is making a comeback here. They've actually revamped the whole the mechanics of the game. They didn't really overthink it like they did a couple years ago, where I think it was 16, where they were trying to do all this stuff, and it's like, wow, that's a lot for a basketball game. That's there's too much that's going on, and then of course they had to cancel it because they just wasn't going to have it out in time. There was a lot of bugs in the programming and stuff like that, so they had to scrap it. But now they're coming. Last year they came out with a game which was pretty successful. Not as successful as I don't know the exact numbers for the two games, how much they sold, how many units they sold, but for by far everyone is a big fan of 2K and that. And I've been a fan of 2K since 2K14. The early days of 2K was kind of tough for me because I was still a big EA Sports. I was an EA Sports fanboy when it came to EA Sports games. I had baseball, basketball, both college and pro, football games and basketball games and stuff like that. And of course, when they made their last baseball game, I was a big fan of that too. So it was really hard for me to transfer to another game like MLB The Show, which I love. I really fell in love with it because it was so realistic and so fun to play and stuff like that. But for basketball, it was really tough because I love playing basketball games, especially college basketball games. But going to NBA, it's been a little even tougher for me to play. I've been trying to play that Oklahoma. I had Oklahoma. I think it was the Thunder series here on the channel. I played that for a while, and then it kind of just got away from it. And then I had this recent one here with the Spurs, and I'm trying to get back into that one. And I should have footage up of that here sometime here soon. Here on the channel, but it's tough for me to play NBA games. I really enjoyed college basketball games, and I wish someday here soon we'll get a college basketball game come back into our lives here. Because right now, this time of the year, this is what I get really pumped about: college football and college basketball games. I get really amped up and really excited about them. But going back to what I was trying to say is. NBA Live is, like I said, coming back, revamping everything. I don't know if they're going to have a story, like a story or a career mode like 2K does, but they are coming back with something special this year. I think this is really cool. I just seen it just a couple of days ago, or just about a day or two ago, that they are going to be introducing the WNBA. Now, a lot of you probably seen this video, the trailer for it and everything. You're probably going like, "Oh my God, why? Seriously, there's no fans in WNBA." Blah blah blah. Well, I mean, there are some really good fans. I actually have a friend of mine. He's a big WNBA fan. He's really from Seattle, from the Washington area. He came to school here about a couple years ago. And so he's a big Supersonics fan. He was really upset and sad that they went to New Orleans, and then they went up to Oklahoma City, and then of course now they're the Thunder. He does not consider them. He refuses to root for them any kind of way. He wants the Supersonics back. But when WNBA brought their team, which I can't remember exactly what their team name is. Now I will admit I don't know too many other teams. I know that there's New York. I think they're called the New York Sky. There are there's a team called the Fire. You got the Sparks. They're in LA. So I know a few of the teams. I know there's a few players like Sue Bird and a couple like that. But I think this is a really cool way of getting people. This is a really good way to introduce people to that league, and really get a bigger fan base. Now, unfortunately, they're only going to be a part of a. They're going to have all the teams in it, but it's going to be just an exhibition type of play. There won't be a season mode or a career mode or anything like that, at least for now. They say they're in the future, depending on how well this goes, we could possibly see their own series, or it could be added on. Later on they could add it on to having a career mode or a season mode, or maybe even if it gets really good, it could have some kind of a franchise mode or something like that to really engage people, just like they do with the NBA. Me personally, I think it'd be great because honestly, I've been looking for a lot of diversity in this in gaming, in sports gaming. I've been really thinking about doing something different. I think this year, so far, I think I mentioned this to you guys already, that I've already got something planned for NHL. I have a character I have in mind. I haven't really thought of his name, but I have a little bit of a backstory for hockey. Then also, too, I kind of want to start my own hockey team. I kind of want to start a team from scratch and kind of build them from the ground up. And I want to use a team that not too many people know about. And I'll go ahead and tell you guys this now. The Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas City, Kansas, or whatever you want to call it, whichever side of the state line. I think Kemper Arena is in the Missouri side. So, but they used to play in the Kemper. If you guys know, if you're from the Midwest or around from where I live, you know where the Kemper Arena is. It's this really nice. It used to be one of the best state-of-the-art arenas here in the Midwest. Since then, we've now got the Sprint Center downtown in Kansas City. But the Kemper used to have. The NHL used to have a team here, which were called the Kansas City Scouts. And they were actually a really good team back in the heyday of I think it was the late 60s, early 70s, I think. And I was doing some research on them and how they became a team and eventually they were, which eventually leave town. They left Kansas City. They went to the Colorado. They became the Colorado Rockies. And then they left Colorado I think they were there for maybe a season or two, and then end up going to New Jersey, which now we know them as the New Jersey Devils. So I was kind of thinking, I was like, I could do a series on the Devils, maybe relocating back to their home, back in Kansas City, or kind of start a team from scratch. I can't remember. I can't remember for sure if you can add like another new team onto their to the existing NHL or thing. If you add create a team from scratch or not, but if you can, that's something I want to do for next year. So I've already got I found some logos online that I want to use to upload onto the team and put on them, or if they're already on. I think they may be already on the game. I know they were on last year's game. They had some of the throwback uniforms for a lot of older teams like that, and I think one of them was on there. So, but that's what I want to do for at least for that series. But going back to what I was what we're talking about is having diversity here in sports gaming. I really want to try something different. I don't want to have the same games every single year. Now the question is really about the timing. Do I have enough time to play these games? Can I still be able to show those games and still do the regular football, basketball during the fall? And the answer is I don't know. I would like to. I would hope I can. But I would like some more diversity in sports gaming. I've been thinking about even going into the point here. I have a friend, my buddy Steve. He's a big NASCAR fan, and last year I think I mentioned this last year that I went to a NASCAR game. A NASCAR race. I went to 2 races. I went to the the Xfinity Series, and then of course I don't know whatever the big time one where you see all the big time races. I can't remember exactly what it. I want to say it's Monster Cup Series, but I don't think it's Monster. I think it's something else. But I was really excited about it, and it really kind of made me intrigued me. I'm like, man, because back in the day, I used to play a lot of different kind of race car games, like, Gran Turismo and all those kind of type of stuff. And I was like, having a racing series would be a lot of fun, because it would be something I could play. I wouldn't have to put those videos up as much. I could put up one every so often, and kind of just the series can kind of go spread over a course of many years. Every time the new game came out, because I think on NASCAR Heat, the game they have right now, last year you could play last year's season, and then you could play once you get done with last year's season, you could play this year's season. That's currently going on. Of course, they added new racers, new cars, and like that. Well, now they're coming out with a second version of that game. I think it's called NASCAR Heat 2, and it's going to be, I think, coming out this fall. And I think you can play this season, and then you can they'll add people and new cars, every year after that. So you don't have to keep buying the same game unless you want to, kind of like what MLB The Show's kind of doing. I think they're kind of doing that same premise where you can stick with one driver and then take that driver for multiple years on multiple games. You can play multiple years as you go along with each game coming out from year to year. So that's something I've been really looking into. The other thing is I went to Walmart a couple nights ago, and I seen that golf. Now golf is it's not a sport that I can say I'm a big fan of, because I'm not. But when I get a chance to see it on TV, and there's something really interesting, there's something historic going on, I can sit down and watch it and kind of understand, because I get the premise of golf and stuff like that, and I enjoy it. So I've been thinking about starting a golf series. I see a lot of other YouTubers there's a couple of YouTubers that do some golf. I know one of them, the only one I know that I watch on a regular basis, and he hasn't done it for a while there, but it's Sports Gaming Universe with Not Fan there on his channel. And I've been thinking about, what, that's not a bad idea. Playing golf, and that's another game that you can play. It doesn't go out of season really, because you can play golf almost anywhere in the world. And I could put that up every so often. It could be a hidden series there on the channel where, I could put it as a Patreon. There's a Patreon. A lot of people are doing that nowadays, and a lot of people have been asking me if I'm going to do something like that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really like to beg for cash or anything, but I mean, if there's a group, if there's a handful of people that want to support that and help me out with that, I would love to do something like that. But it just comes down to basically just the time. Do I have time to do that? Do I want to do it? Yes. Do I have the time to do it? Yeah. That's the part that's gonna be tricky. So I would like to see diversity, and this is some cool because I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking like maybe I should pick up that game. I may not pick it up on launch, but maybe sometime down the line, like maybe during the holidays when the games are they're on sale and stuff like that. Maybe pick it up, try it out, see what's with that with how to see the WNBA players. So far the people on the game look awesome. Or I should say people. The ladies on there look awesome. They look realistic and everything. They mocap them and everything. So this is something cool because I think this could be the future of another step into sports gaming here that we can see a WNBA game. And honestly, if this became an actual game, I would pick it up and I would buy it and I would play it. I think that especially if they had a career mode where you were playing as a female. And doing the same things you do with the guys in NBA 2K, and then a lot of people are saying this could be the first shots fired between Live and 2K, where if this becomes successful for Live, I can see 2K saying, hey, we can do the same thing, but we can do it better. And you can have that war between a really good, healthy competition between the two games. What are you a fan of? Are you a fan of 2K, or are you a fan of Live, or you're a fan of both? And I think that's really cool. I think that would really get that going, and especially give it a lot of exposure to WNBA. So I want to know what you guys think about that. That is something I really want to talk about here today. When I seen the mode caps of how they were doing it, and then they showed the final product of just the trailer they have out right now, which I'll try to find and see if I can find a link to that trailer. I know I see it on YouTube. I've seen a lot of people talk about it. I try to see if I can find a link down there below, and I'll put a link in there in the description there for you guys to check out that video if you have not yet checked it out. But I think it's really cool, so awesome because they have the WNBA. They do have advertisement on their logos, on their uniforms there. So that's because NBA is starting to think about doing that themselves here in next. I think it's this season. I think they're doing it, or if it's not this season, I think it's next season. But they'll be starting that here soon. So we get a preview of what these. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be really cool seeing WNBA on the map here and seeing them in a video game here. So it'd be something different and be something fun and exciting. So like I said, that's what I said. I've been looking for a lot of diversity, playing something different here. Other games here. I really want to bring back my college football series that I had with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. But also, I've been thinking about doing a series, a standalone series with a there's a lot of guys doing a lot of these series on the NBA, on the football games, where they're creating their own schools and kind of get them started from the ground up. And I've been thinking about that too. I've been thinking about using my old alma mater, Emporia State, as a school, or using even I was thinking about using the junior college I went to, Highland, the Highland Scotties, using them as a base, as the start of a new franchise or a new dynasty there in I can't remember what that mode's called. Team Builder, that's what it's called. So yeah, I think that'd be really cool. But I think really true. I think the WNBA going to a video game, if this becomes something that I think that it'd be great, because I'm really surprised that 2K has not done this yet. But if NBA Live can do this and they get successful with this, I think we might have there might be a good future in it. So I can't wait. All right, now let's go ahead and go to the gridiron here, as we just had our first NFL game here just a couple nights ago. We had the Hall of Fame game between the Cowboys and Cardinals there. Really decent game. Really, I didn't really watch too much of the game, but it was really fun to hear the stories of these Hall of Fame players. These players now that are Hall of Famers now playing, and of course you had Morten Andersen, a kicker, who played for the Saints, Falcons, Giants, Chiefs, and Vikings. I believe he went in as a Saints player, but don't quote me on that. Also, Terrell Davis, running back for the Broncos. Kenny Easley, safety for the Seahawks. Jerry Jones, the president and owner of the Cowboys. He got his bust. And then also Jason Taylor, defensive end. He played for the Dolphins, Redskins, and Jets. LaDainian Tomlinson, running back for the Chargers, and of course also for the Jets. And then Kurt Warner, I think the best story of them all. Kurt Warner, he is going to go in, I believe, as a Ram. And of course, he played for the Rams, Giants, and then, of course, played this last year. He had one more Super Bowl run with the Cardinals there about a couple years ago here and retired with them. So, yeah. What a story there, especially for Kurt Warner. I mean, just a guy. I mean, literally, that season, that magical season, coming in as a backup because Trent Green was down. They had to, find some. They had to get, someone in there. They got Kurt Warner, the backup. A player that no one heard of. He was a little over his age when he came in. He played in the Arena League for quite a few years. At the same time, he was bagging groceries at a local store there in Iowa. And, I mean, he comes to the NFL and has a very, very magical season. I mean, just a crazy season. And goes all the way to winning the Super Bowl. Wow, what a story there! And I can't wait to hear some of the speeches here. I think the Hall of Fame ceremonies are this Sunday. So if you guys get a chance here, check those out. And really, as I said, that's the story I'm really looking forward to. Just his story and just how he had a dream and he did not let that dream die at all. And I think that's a good story. I think everyone can connect to. In no matter what walk of life you're from. So I think that's a really good and really truly. I mean, look at those names right there. I mean, those are really good names that are going into Canton. So yeah, that is this weekend. Like I said, I didn't really watch too much of the game. I was really interested in the story, but that means now football. We're a couple Sundays away from having football. Preseason will be starting here soon. I know here in the where I live at here in St. Joseph, of course, the Missouri Western hosts the training camp. They have the Chiefs out there, and that's been very, very busy. This year I didn't work the Chiefs camp because I think I told you guys last year or this past May I quit my job out there. Well, now they want me to come back. So, yeah, I know. It's crazy. I'm going to get more money now. I'm going to be working out there back at the university where I was working at. And I have a little bit more responsibility now. But they asked me to come out there for the Chiefs camp. And I'm telling them, like, yeah, I got too much going on right now with some other stuff, with another job and stuff. And I was like, not this year. But, and I mean, it's been really busy. I mean, because we got the Eclipse thing coming up here. That everybody's psyched about, and they actually had the Chiefs camp. That's why the Chiefs camp's running a little late this year because of it. Because they wanted people to come in for the Chiefs camp and then for the Eclipse. And I think we have this festival called Trails West coming up. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, especially in the next 2 weeks. So you got all kinds of stuff going on here in this area, this neighborhood of the country, But yeah, football's back, and I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing all this stuff go on and getting into the swing of things here. So, of course, people want to know what Super Bowl predictions I have, and of course, I never give those. I think those are just ridiculous because you say what teams you want now, and I mean, even within October, things will change, like just shift crazy, and it's crazy how things like that happen. So I'm not going to get into Super Bowl predictions. I usually wait until about the first 8 games of the season to really, because I mean, they play a total of, there's 17 weeks, but there's really 16 games. So halfway through, I kind of give my prediction of just looking at the first first 8 games, kind of see where everybody's at and kind of get my prediction then. So right now it's too early to tell. I will say probably that if I had to make a prediction, one of the teams, I hate to name this team, but New England is one of those teams that you got to put in there for potentially going to the Super Bowl. But they could have a bad year. You never know. Tom Brady could go down on an injury like he did a couple years ago when he played against the Chiefs. Yeah, I'm just saying. We'll have to see how that goes here, and we'll have all that kind of stuff throughout the whole year, or for the whole football season here on the channel, here on the podcast. Let's go ahead and stay in the NFL as we go ahead and we'll talk about this, and we're going to be talking about the story that's been making news here pretty much throughout the whole off season. The question is, can Colin Kaepernick make a comeback and a return into the NFL? Now, people all over the country, people all over social media, especially on ESPN. I mean, ESPN literally had a whole day. Kaepernick had his own little feed there about this. And to me, this is what I have to say about this. Okay, so can Kaepernick come back as a quarterback? Because there's a lot of talks right now that for one, the Miami Dolphins need a quarterback. Now, Matt Morris, their second string quarterback, Tannehill went down on injury, and he pretty much right now he is being told we're being told that he is not going to be able to come back at all. So right now, you have to think the morale on that team. And I can tell you this from my experience, and I know college is different than the pros, but for the most part, all college football players think the same. And a lot of them think the season's already over with already. The season hasn't even begun yet, and they're already, saying, next year. I mean, I guess you could say that about really you can say that about a good handful of teams already, but when your quarterback's down, that right there, you're thinking like, okay, what do we do next? Is Matt Moore ready to be the quarterback for us for these next, 16 weeks? And to me personally, the question is no. You need somebody in there that can go in there, be able to go in there, take the reins, and take them and just go with it. And that one guy right now who doesn't have a job currently right now is Kaepernick. Now, the question I'm going to ask you guys is, do you guys remember who the full-time quarterback was the last time before Kaepernick was the full, the permanent starter for the 49ers? Now, can anybody answer that? Well, if you can't, the answer is Alex Smith, who currently now plays for the Kansas City Chiefs as their starting quarterback. And of course, there's questions about that because Andy Reid has a new quarterback that he drafted, and this young man can throw the football very well. I actually got to see him during practice there when I went to go visit some friends out there that I work with, and he can throw the ball. He's got a good future here. He's got a good shot to beat Alex Smith if Alex Smith continues. If he ends up having a bad game or two. So Alex Smith, the first round pick of the 2005 draft by the 49ers from Utah, played for the 49ers from 2005 to 2012. So that's about 8 seasons with the 49ers. And then he's now going to his 5th season now with the Kansas City Chiefs. He started 9 games as a rookie, and only season he started for the full 16 games were in the 2006-2007 season. So, I mean, that's okay. That's good. Now, Kaepernick, on the other hand, when he came in, the 49ers drafted him that spring of 2012, and he started 7 games of the 16 in the 2012-2013 season. Kaepernick, of course, took over the reins of the 49ers and took them to the Super Bowl when they faced the Ravens, and, of course, lost that game Very controversial game, which remember the lights went out and everything. Everybody was, saying that was rigged and all that kind of stuff because Kaepernick and the 49ers were hot. But then after that lights went off, they just kind of lost their momentum, and then the Ravens came back and won the game. Final score 31-24. Now, now is his mechanics an issue right now? Yes. That you can always work with. I mean, there are so many quarterbacks we've seen over the years that has had mechanics issues or throwing, not do a good job of reading the defense well, all that kind of stuff, and that stuff can change. You can that stuff you can fix. I think personally, this is my opinion. I think this is the thing that gets everybody. It's because of what happened this time last year with the incident of him with the whole national anthem thing. Now, to me, why are you making this off the field issue the issue when it's not? It's really the issue is he's not playing well right now. He needs to be taken off to the side off the field and saying, hey, these are the things we need to work on. These are the things that we can focus in on and make you better and then get you back at that starting rate. Because right now, honestly, the 49ers don't have the quarterback from Missouri anymore, Blaine Gabbert. They don't have him anymore. He left. Right now, the 49ers currently have on the roster is Matt Barkley from USC. So far he's played 5 seasons in the NFL. Has not started. He's had a couple of starts for when he got drafted by the Cardinals. But since then, has not did well. Has not had a successful win ratio. Brian Hoyer, oh my goodness, from Michigan State. He's been in the league for 9 years, and majority of his career he's been with the Browns. Don't need to say much about that. We already know about that. Now they do have 2 rookies. I don't know much about these two. CJ Benlarth, 6'2", 215 pound from Iowa. And then Nick Mullins, 6'1", 187 pound from Southern Mississippi. Now, like I said, they don't have I didn't see any. I couldn't find any. Tried to find the numbers on them. I didn't have really time to find them because I was looking this stuff up, some of these stats up just right before the show. But I don't know much about them and whatnot because I don't watch. They're not covered as much as like UFC or UFC. UFC or Michigan State or something like that, big powerhouse football team. So I mean they're right now they're questionable for the 49ers right now, and then not to mention you got Chip Kelly, who comes from the Eagles, who was formerly a college football coach with Oregon, who had a very successful career there, and decided I'm going to go ahead and go to the NFL. And then the science experiment, the freaking science that he was trying there in Philly didn't work, and now fans, now they're moving him. Now he's moved to the West Coast here, and he's thinking he can, do the same thing he did in Oregon. Now here, he's at least back on the same coast, and he thinks he can, do the same thing like he did in Oregon, or what he tried to do in Philadelphia. And to me, honestly, I think that's just a failure. I think really true. I think for me personally, as a fan of the sport, he is so much better in the college ranks. To me, I think he'll make so much more money than he would in the NFL. College ranks, he'll have more control of who he's going to bring in his system by recruiting wise and stuff like that. Because you have to think a lot of times when these guys make these decisions on who comes in, a lot of times it's not always the coach. Even though they say it's the coach. The coach is making the final decision and everything. Really, truly, it's the president or the president or owner of the club, or the general manager, or the combination of the two. So yeah, I mean, even though the coach is the so-called, I guess you can say that in the kitchen, I guess he's the chef. But overall, he's not the one. He's the one not setting not making the grocery list. It's really the owner or the GM or whoever's in charge of who the owner or the president of the team is. They make the overall sole decision of who they're going to have within the organization. Now, to me, the quarterback situation in Miami needs to be solved right now, and the only choice they have right now, because there's no other. Can you think of anybody else right now that could come in and take over that spot? A lot of people are saying RG3 should make a run. They should, make a trade and go after RG3. I think no. That's RG3 to me. He with his knee. I still say to this day, if he did not have that knee injury, and Shanahan did not play him like he did, and had him go back out there and play and re-injure himself, he would be a great player right now. But ever since that injury, he has went downhill, and he's gotten worse and worse. So RG3, no, out. He's done. He's finito. Bye. See ya. I think the only person right now, and I can't think of anybody else but Kaepernick to be for the Dolphins right now, their quarterback. And I'm sorry, but his passing and his decision making is the issue that needs to be addressed. Forget about what happened with the whole off the field issue and the whole not standing there during the national anthem. Me personally, this is his stage. This is his platform that he needs to address something. Because if he was anybody else or doing anything else in this world, no one would listen to him. To me, I think he's one of the few decent people out there, a few decent athletes out there that actually realize, hey, I have a platform. I have something that I can talk about because it affects not just me, but everybody else in this nation. Now, I'm not trying to make it a race thing or anything like that. But last year at this time, there was a big issue. There still is an issue of racism in this country. Don't get me wrong. Let's don't try to be blind about it. Or have rose-colored glasses, they say. But there is an issue with there was a lot of young black men getting shot, and he wanted to address that because he is a black male. People are like, oh no, he's half black, half white. Well, it's all about your identity. Yes, he's mixed race, but at the same time, he feels more like he's black than he is white. He's a man of color. He does have, he is a light-skinned man. Light-skinned, colored man. He's not white. It's a different story than if he was white, And I don't see why people have to make it an issue. Make it because he's mixed. He shouldn't be talking about stuff like this. No, he could identify himself as black. This affects him also because if he wasn't who he didn't have the famous stuff, he would probably be one of the people out there that worry about, okay, as a black male, my life's on the line every time I cannot be coming. There's a good chance I might not be coming back home. And to me, this issue that people are making that he has no right saying this. He's an athlete. He gets paid millions of dollars. Well, he has no problem. He has no issues. No, this is an issue. This is a problem. He wants to address it. And people forget too. He has donated millions of dollars to different charitable organizations inside the inner cities to help young men and young people of color and stuff, or just young people in general, with kids in general. And people forget about that. They don't want to talk about that. I'm sorry, I never met him before, but to me, he's one of the few athletes that actually uses their platform like the way they should. Now, is he having trouble on the field there? Yes, that is he does not deny it at all. He knows he's having trouble. He's making tough issues when it comes to passing and decision making. But at the same time, look at the 49ers. Look at what they did. They had a horrible offensive line there. They could not move the ball at all. They had their receivers. They had no. Can you name one guy that he could throw the ball to that would catch it and be able to take it down the field? I can't. So that whole ball club from the get-go, ever since oh shit, now I can't think of his name. I had his name on the tip of my tongue now. Shit. Ever since he left and went to Ann Arbor to coach up there. It's been a hell of. I mean, it's a lot worse now than it was before he got there, and you had Singletary being the coach. So, and then of course, Alex Smith was there when that happened. When all that stuff was happening. So, I mean, the 49ers, they want to get back to that glory there. They had a chance. I mean, that year they went to the Super Bowl and lost. They were the heavy favorites of going back and doing it again and winning it this time. But ever since then, nope. They can't. They keep getting quarterbacks like Blaine Gabbert, who, to me, he was a decent quarterback at Missouri. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to take that away from him. He had some really good games there. He played very well. But on the NFL level, he's just not there yet. And at this point, he's been in the NFL for quite some time now. He may not have it. I mean, the draft's not a exact science, So, I mean, I think that, to me personally, I think the Dolphins should go after Kaepernick. Bring him there, see what he can do, and if he can't do what they want him to do, I mean, set a reasonable bar, set a reasonable goal for him to at least try. And if he doesn't make it, then go ahead and give it to Matt Moore. Because then you get Tannehill back after this time next year to come back. And all you have to do is sign Kaepernick to a 1-year deal for a couple $1 million and just see what he does. And not to mention, you give him a decent deal where you don't have to pay, if you had to or wanted to and you didn't feel comfortable having him on the team anymore, you can release him. Because at this point, right now, Dolphins your season's already over with already. Because look who you have to play. You have to play the Bills twice. You have to play Patriots twice. And the Jets. So, if you lose 2, that's right there. That's 6 games right there you've lost. So you're 0-6 right there. And then not to mention whoever you play on your outside your conference of those games or outside your division. And with playing other teams within the AFC and a couple of NFC games. What does your future look like? You might as well take a chance now with them and just say, let's go for it. Let's see what happens. But yeah, that's my issue about that. And hopefully, a lot of you guys will probably disagree with me. If you do, great. Leave that down below in the comment section. Let me know who you think is better than Kaepernick right now. Because honestly, I can't think of any. There's no quarterback right now I can think of that's a free agent that's looking for a job that can do it. I think somebody, one comment I read on ESPN, they said bring in, I can't think of his name. He was a quarterback for the Raiders. He's LSU quarterback, and he's trying to make a comeback to the NFL. And I kind of laughed. I'm like, really? Him? Really? No. You're better off digging up some old quarterback from back in the day and put him out there than have that kid out there. He can't do it. So, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. They got a couple more weeks left. If they're going to bring him in, they need to bring him in now. Get him in training, and see what he can do. But we'll see here. We got 4 weeks. We got a month until the season starts. For the Dolphins to make a change, make a drastic change, either make a change by bringing Kaepernick or finding another free agent to come in and take over the reins, or last chance, Matt Moore. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking Matt Moore. He obviously got something to his game because and all these guys I've been talking about, they have something. They have some kind of tangible that got them to that level there. But the idea is when you get to that level, you have to stay on that level. And some of these guys are not doing that. And some of these guys need, I mean, all these guys need to work on their game, and regardless of who you are. You got to work on your game. I don't care if you are the best player in the league. You still got to work on your game. You still got to make, you still got to show people why they drafted them, or why they signed you. But we'll have to find out and see here in a couple weeks. About a month, about a month until the season starts. Wow, can't believe that. But that is it for this episode here. I told you guys I was going to try to be short, and I just got about close to that little over 45 minutes. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. Hopefully you guys agree or disagree with what I had to say, and that's fine by me. Don't care. Just let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think about some of the stuff we shared today. Hopefully, I'm not going to promise you, but hopefully next week we'll have another episode here of this. Sports Gaming Soapbox podcast. I think next week we'll get into some wrestling here. Wrestling here as of late, Raw has been, that. Been really confusing. We'll talk a little bit about that, what's going on in wrestling. Also, we'll get ready to kind of some previews of some SummerSlam matches. We'll get into that, and some other things here too. So. Hopefully we'll have an episode next week. I'm not promising it. Don't say you promised. No, I didn't. I hope to have it. I'm working on. Matter of fact, right after this show, or actually before the show, I was working on some stuff for next week. But also I'm going to be working on it afterwards. So don't hold me to it. Just wait for it. I'll let you guys know on Facebook and Twitter. You guys can follow us there on that for the latest news and events here on the channel. About that and much more, and especially all the stories here that we've covered here today. I'll have that on those social media places, and you guys can check those out and read more about them. But if there's any story that you guys that I didn't, or anything has been covered or has been covered, but you guys want me to talk about it and get my opinion on it, what's going on in sports right now, let me know. Leave something in the comments, or send me an email. Send me a link or something to it. I can check it out, and if it's good enough, I'll check it up and look at it and talk about it. So I love talking about sports. I love debating sports, especially wrestling. If you want to debate about wrestling, I'm there. That's my thing. I love talking about that, and I enjoy talking about it. Me and my buddy Steve go outside. I know I keep mentioning him here on the show, and eventually I am going to try to get him out here on there so we can talk about stuff like that and everything. Because we got coming up here next, I think it's in 2 weeks, I have my fantasy football fantasy football draft coming up fantasy football draft coming up, and I'll tell you guys about that, and who I have as my keepers from last year's season, who I'm going to try to go after this season, because I have the number 2 pick overall this year. I did really bad. Not as bad as the girl as one of my friends' wives did. She did really bad. Worse than last year, because last year she was in one of the top 2 team, or she's in the top 4 there in our league. But last year she just did a complete 180, or not 180, 360. Jeez, you need to take a nap. Anyway, but then we'll have that. I'll talk about more about that next week and stuff. So we'll got some story. We'll talk about some whatever comes up this week. Because it's sports. There's something crazy going to happen, and I will try to talk about that. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Also, don't forget to hit that subscription button for more sports gaming soapbox talk here on ESGNet. And again, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. Links down below in the description. And check those out. Also, the links to all the stuff we're talking about here, you guys can check those out and follow those, and see. And again, leave your comments down there if you got anything to say. Let me know. I enjoy looking at you guys' comments, even if they're ridiculous. I've had some of those here, or as of late. So, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I will see you guys next time.